I cannot believe that. Hold on, I'm hitting play now.
To kind of set the scene for you, we're expecting this thing to, charge through the Caribbean Sea, possibly then move into the Gulf of America.
Medium chance to develop in the coming days. Odds are 40% in the next 2 days, as well as the next 7 days.
Welcome back to the Carriado Podcast. My name is Bryce. With me, as always, is Kevin, except he's back. He's here in person. And we may have done this this might be the
I've
third
been
take.
being held hostage for so long. I want to get this done.
The first time we fucked up.
Come
the second
to the
time,
compound, he said. It'll be fun, we said.
The second time I hit mute.
I'll record, we said.
That's not even the first time I've done that, by hitting mute and then not noticing
The world wasn't ready for those ideas.
I think I did that for the suppressor, or suppress. God
yes.
damn it. The Suppress Fest episode. Or one of them, at least.
It's the sign from above that they weren't ready for those ideas to be
Yeah,
done.
they weren't vibing with those ideas. So, God damn it, we've repeated this shit twice now. But we love you guys, so we're here. We're here for it. So we initially had planned this for a get-together that ended up falling apart, mostly because of weather outside of our control in terms of other parts of the country. So we initially thought we'd get together and do the FBC 22 review to try to pivot because you had already taken off and, wanted to see you anyway. But,
yes, and that...
What happened, Kevin? You're better at telling stories than I am.
I planned, I came down and, we had to pivot to the FPC 22, which I thought was a great idea. I got here, we set up the gun, we had the ammo, we had everything ready to go. We were up in a reasonable time, 8 o'clock, right out the door. And then Hannah, lovely Hannah, producer, calls Bryce's phone. He's back upstairs grabbing the last little item that we thought we forgot, which is fine. I answer, I'm like, hello, and, I take the full blunt of, hey, that ranger
the blunt
going
or
to...
the brunt?
The blunt.
The blunt. You rolled one of those that fast.
Yes, I did. The blunt.
The brunt.
The brunt.
There you go.
Thank you.
But of course.
A manatee.
Manatee, archery, our local range.
Being closed.
Yeah. Now, on a Wednesday. So I'm sure it's been that
closed on a Wednesday.
I'm sure they have had those hours for quite some time, and I just never noticed.
It feels so odd.
It does feel
Most
so
places have like a day of downtime, maybe 2.
Nah, I mean,
like 3
I don't
days
know.
of downtime. Maybe I'm just broken from the what I go to.
I was gonna say you're up north. Well, you're the northern part of South Georgia,
yeah,
so
and it's Florida Wildlife Control owned, so they don't get to be down. They get 1 day basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I guess we could touch on that real quick. But in terms of South Florida, actually at my job, because for the auction house, I drive all across Florida picking up guns from people, and we actually had a guy not too long ago down south. He was basically getting rid of his collection. I mean, he was a little older, but not really old enough to where you'd think you need to be not shooting anymore.
Right.
And it really just came down to the fact that he couldn't find a place to shoot rifles that was within an hour of him. Now, granted, he's a little older, so he didn't necessarily want to travel, but he was like, it's already expensive to shoot these fucking things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not to get like too into the weeds of it, but I feel like the more southern you go, the more snowbirds there are.
Yeah.
Influencing the local governments and ordinances.
Well, and that, more to your point, the ranges had like really weird arbitrary rules. There was like a year wait list to become a member. And it was just like so many hoops to just go pull triggers.
Yeah. It's just, it's not, I feel like places are like, they're not like, you can't do this. They just make it such a rigmarole to do that you end up not wanting to do it anyway if you're just a normal everyday person who's supposed to pull triggers.
Yeah. The barrier for entry is already kind of high in terms of people getting nervous and firearms being
scary when you're not.
Yeah, I mean, they can be a bit much.
I mean, there are many explosions that you're creating in your hand.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I don't really think about that, but yeah, I mean, that's 100% true. And then for you to make it even that much more difficult, like for me, or what it's okay for me, but not for thee. It's like those same range rules only apply to like the new people. I was watching the fuck was I watching? I was watching a video where a guy was trying to break down the different like, rationale behind like private ranges, but then when they put on a class or anything like that, none of the regular rules apply. So it's like, why do they apply at all?
I don't know.
If
I feel like if I owned the private range, I would just be very simple and just take things as they come.
I feel like you say that until like we have our buddy Aiden. He's run firing lines in the army and he doing qualifications and stuff like that. And he's like, you want everybody to have equal opportunity and be treated like human beings until you have to deal with them and realize they're all fucking idiots. Now, granted, that's the army, so I'm sure the army has its own issues in terms of
So
trying to
full
train
of
people.
idiots to pull from.
Yeah, so I I think that's I don't know. I definitely think that's a factor, but I do think it's interesting because even where I live, Kevin is it always comes down has something to add about how terrible it is down here. But I
Look,
mean, I have 1,000-yard range.
I compromise on the ranges that you have because you do have good ranges. I'm just so used to mine being very, well, just, hey, how are you?
Well, yours are
But
good because nobody's there.
most of the time, yeah.
The ones that I like, people are there, but they're still approachable.
Yeah.
And I think there's about 2. I mean, 1.5.
Yeah. Well, speaking of ranges, you know what you need when you go to the range is a gun and
A target,
a
magazine,
to put in the
my butt.
yes, the magazine to put in your butt.
Yes.
So in our to pivot back to our adventure from the 22
Oh, that's right. I
debacle.
forgot about that.
Yes, I was feverishly Googling. We decided not to shoot, but to try and find me a Springfield operator and or gun that I wanted to buy. So I started Googling pawn shops. Ironically, the first pawn shop I Googled, I had no idea was next to high noon. Or maybe I did. The world will never know. So we roll up to that pawn shop. They don't have any, they have some crappy guns in there. But then we go right into high noon and we're perusing around. They don't really have an operator or a gun that I'm looking for. But they did have a box of magazines
Yes,
for
they did.
$7. And at first, Bryce gave the good old glance and shrugged. And
I saw Pro Mag. I saw ASC.
The first mag he saw was Pro Mag.
And then he says, I'm sorry. Continue. Your
And
storytelling
I'm
is better.
perusing through and I see Magpul. I'm like, Magpul? And it's like kind of a straight. I'm like, wait, this is straight and titanium on this. So I whistle at Bryce like a dog.
Okay, first of
Come
all,
here, boy.
he shows me the curved 20s first, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, whatever. Now, I probably, in hindsight, should have been a little bit more excited about $7 magazines that are normally 20, and they were basically brand new. But there were six straight 20-round PMags, which, depending on your level of geekiness or care into magazines, those are basically, with the exception of the eMag, the most desirable. So they're probably the second most desirable magazines that Magpul makes. Now, there's arguments to be made for the first generation stuff, which technically, I mean, I guess the straight 20s are more like the second generation in terms of polymer construction. But either way, they are very cool. And we got 6 of them for $7 a piece. I know math.
40-ish bucks.
Yep, there it is.
I also got my ASC mag because I like the steel mag.
Yeah, I don't have any problem. I don't know. I feel like if I'm gonna have a magazine, it'll be polymer or aluminum. And the only
It's
steel
not
mags,
for reliability. It's for the coolness.
it's just heavy.
For the coolness.
It's cool to be heavy.
It is.
Why don't you have a battle rifle?
I'm sorry. Do you put EOTechs on things?
No, I don't.
You do.
It's not on anything.
Liar.
It's not on that.
Oh. Wait, yes it is.
No, it's not.
It's on FPC, you bastard.
Yeah, it's true.
You thought I forgot
You did.
for a minute.
You did forget. That's exactly why I did it. Well, so we ended up we were at Academy realizing this, and then we were like, we should just go to pawn stores. or pawn shops, and we hit up a couple pawn shops. We hit up High Noon, and then so where we're talking about is the Sarasota area, and that's where I'm based out of. And so we obviously made our way down to Shark Coast Tactical, which I mean is probably it's got to be one of the biggest dealers down here. I mean, it's they're
they
pretty
had
big
some
name.
really. I've never been in that shop, and that shop was. They
Oh
had
my
some
god,
really
that
good stuff in there.
it's really nice. I think we were talking about was it not too long ago. We were talking about the differences between the northern and southern markets in terms of firearms.
Right? Yeah, I feel like you have way better selection. But maybe that's related to the amount of places that you can't really shoot. Like people buy cool guns. And then
It's
they turn around and sell them because they just turn into a money making
it's like
opportunity.
it's like shooting blue balls. You get these guns and you can never blow your load. So yeah,
Wow. We're talking about blue balls. It's only
I know. Not even
a certain time in the morning.
Jesus. Yeah, I like. I don't know. I mean, so even when I moved down here, back
Like-
over 10 years ago,
Yeah.
there weren't those kinds of gun shops in terms of the ones that we care about and get excited about walking into. Normally, it's like, oh, there's a shotgun, there's a Garand, there's an Enfield.
Hey, son, have you ever seen the World War II handgun? Right here.
And
Yes,
what's
sir.
interesting is the sentiment of it needs to be 45. It needs to have
Hardball.
wood and steel,
Yep.
and
Oh, yeah, you're speaking my language.
that
now.
continues to this day, and it's been kept alive by fucking gun stores that smell like an ashtray and creaky wood floors.
And I'm asked. They don't have the scent machine. Those are real cigarettes.
Those
they're
are-
smoking.
They're smoking in the back. I think you said they were smoking in the range because it has ventilation, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, I mean the little smoke to your lead, right on.
God fucking bless. But yeah, so in terms of the market, I mean, we have a couple other places, but in terms of scale, I mean, Shark Coast probably has the most thorough collection in terms, or
I feel like
Supply.
they did. I feel they had a really interesting. They had a Mod Podge of like super nice stuff, and also everyman stuff. Like
Yeah.
the used Glocks
Yep.
for under 500.
Yeah.
I mean that's if I'm a first time gun buyer, I can buy a clapped out police Glock and work off that.
What's interesting about going into Shark Coast, it's almost like going into like an online retailer, or it's like almost like going onto Primary Arms, except it's the shit on the wall is the stuff you're looking at. He has the guy that owns it is always on the show floor, ready to talk to you. Will is a great guy, and it's interesting because if you look at he seems to understand what people in terms of like the market talks about. Like even his marketing guy that does his YouTube videos. I mean, in terms of, or not does his YouTube videos, but is in a lot of the YouTube videos. I mean, you can tell there is an understanding of what's going on in the market. And then recently I saw he took a stand against one, maybe stands a bit strong, but he took he had more of a moral issue with a supplier, a suppressor, a well-known suppressor manufacturer, and the fact that they weren't supporting his customers, which I thought was pretty cool. And that's not very common,
Well,
to be
that's-
perfectly frank.
Yeah, it's good that he's taking a stand for his
Well,
customers.
more so than that, I mean, based on that interaction, it changed how what things he supplied, if he was a dealer or not anymore. I think that says a lot. I mean, in terms of how much money, I mean, he was listing off, like in that video, I think Focus Trip actually covered that, but he was listing off how much money he's or how much he'd sold for that company. And it's just like, oh wow,
Jeez.
that's a shitload of money. So, I mean, I like the presence in terms of like shops specifically like that have, because you can tell it's not just reading from guns and ammo. It's you walk in and they have they have APC 308s, they have
Yeah.
PSA AKs, which I know people have a problem with one way or the other, but not a lot of places stock those for some reason.
It has put you back into the.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh, I
We'll
see.
we'll
I
talk
see.
about
we're saving that for.
We'll talk
later on.
about it.
Yeah, it's funny you mention it. I think my local gun shop.
Oh, let's talk about let's finish the guns, the Glock trade-in thing. What was because we were gonna talk about how attractive that was in terms of
Oh, yeah.
talking about walking in
Well,
like
I say,
primary
yeah.
arms.
Well, I was saying, like, if you're a first time gun buyer and you have no experience with a gun, what's more attractive to you? A $600 Glock that some schmo's trying to sell you in a big box store, thinking that you're an idiot, or just a clapped out police one that you can maybe ask your friends or ask online, like, hey, what should I look for in a Glock? Okay, this is what I should look for. It's worn, and they're mostly worn in. So, like, 80% of the work is
Worn out, I
worn.
think.
Well, they're worn out, but you can rebuild them. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
you can
fair.
rebuild them for like under $50.
What I will say is, there were a couple hodgepodge he was showing me. They had, it was Gen 3s and Gen 5 17s. They weren't MOS or right about it, but the, the ALS marks on the slide from the Glock 19s, you could see these things were drawn a lot.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, which is kind of funny because you can see the differences between police departments in terms of what actually gets, and when I mean trade-ins, I mean like the actual police trade-ins, not like the evidence or anything like that.
Right. Right.
But like it's funny because you see ones that are pristine and then you see that ones that look like they got limped across the
Well, mine original Glock 19 was a pristine, like, what, Department of
Well,
Homeland
yeah, it was a
Security?
we figured out, or I don't know how we did that. I think somebody looked it up or something like that, but we think it was a DHS gun. And and that thing looks like it had never been shot a single time.
Yep. It was like brand new. I mean,
So,
it's not new anymore,
no, it is not.
but it was.
At one point in its life, it was, yes. But so, I mean, I I like the idea. Kevin makes he makes a compelling argument in terms of buying a trade-in, but I think there is a thing that maybe we haven't considered in terms of why somebody wouldn't want to trade in. And I think maybe it comes down to a firearm being kind of a major purchase in terms of
Yes,
it
but
being a tool to some
yes,
people.
yes, but I said you can rebuild them for under $50.
Okay, if you're a new shooter, a brand new
There's
shooter,
YouTube and Glocks are
I don't think
easy,
I don't really want to recommend people.
easy to work. Like,
I'm
I
not recommending
feel
people do that. I don't think that's a good idea. I think especially for a new shooter, that is a terrible idea.
you gotta no, I think it's possible. I mean, there's
You think working on the internals on a firearm that you have never worked
the
on before and new
watching YouTube and doing it slow, yeah, I think you can get
Kevin, you're like an experienced gun guy and you still lose shit and put them back together incorrectly.
well,
I still
I
do
don't
that.
put things back together. I do lose things.
You do put them back in correctly. Or I'm sorry, they stay in a bag until you figure out how to put them back together.
When has that happened?
I just remembered the USB.
That's not fair. It was a trigger spring, sir.
I think that is fair. That's more to my point.
But that wasn't a trade-in gun. That was the gun I had. Well,
Well, my point is that you were working on a gun. My point is that I don't know that it's a very good idea for
so,
people to
all
be
right.
monkeying around inside
So
of
you're saying your
firearms.
stance is don't get the trade-in as your first one. Buy brand new. That way you don't have to worry about it. And then if you like the platform, then maybe get a trade-in to play around with.
I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna get a trade in, you're sort of. I mean, kind of like buying a used car. Maybe you should take somebody that knows about guns when you go,
Yeah.
because then you can figure out like
Well, that's what,
half of those 19s had recoils, probably never had a recoil spring changed. So, I mean, and all of the connectors, I'm sure all of the finish on the connectors were gone because the triggers were fucking dog shit.
yeah.
I mean, worse because if you shot Glocks long enough, you know there's a sweet spot, there's a butter zone from when the connector is brand new to when it's kind of gross and gritty, and then it's shot in for 10,000 or however many rounds, and then you start wearing the finish off of it, like the coating, or you grind past a point and then it becomes really gritty and terrible again. Now, it takes quite a long time for that to happen, but that can account for some. Actually, maybe we should talk to Mike about that. Get more of a mechanical
Oh yeah, we could.
understanding about why Glock triggers are terrible, amazing, and then terrible. Also, it was a weird epiphany that we were playing with the Ruger RXMs and they had better triggers than some of the Glocks. Now, when I say better triggers, I like long kind of rolly brakes. So
better in the sense that they weren't like they didn't feel like a clocked out 1917 trigger that's been shot umpteenth times.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like maybe okay, all right, maybe I'll amend it. I'll say your first gun should be brand new, and then your second gun, if you want to play around, could be a used gun, a Glock, because they're easy to kind of pull apart.
So
They're
I mean,
not hard to work on. They don't have very many parts.
one
se.
thing that I think goes kind of I haven't really seen trade-ins just kind of out like that for you to check and play with and figure out which one. Because I mean, basically they had a box out and they had all the guns inside of it, and then you pick and choose which one you wanted.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you do that if you go to like Aim Surplus or you go to PSA, you go to any of the places that have the police trade-ins, you get what you get. And it was really cool to be able to walk in and go, well, this one's in slightly better condition. This one looks like it's been shot.
Kind of get you picking the litter.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty compelling, actually. But I mean,
I would get a Glock 45 training because I feel like I don't know. I feel like they just must be nice.
Kevin really likes 19 slides on 17 frames.
I have one on right now, sir.
Why are you so loud?
Because I want to modify
Literally
my
right
voice
next to you.
I want to modify my voice for emphasis.
Ah, you're emphasizing the point. My goodness. Well, in terms I like what that offers, but I also don't want to say like you shouldn't work on your guns because you should. I mean, that's what I do.
Well, that's why I amended it. I said maybe you can buy one if you wanted to start learning how to work on a gun. Because then, if you lose something and you break it, I mean, you're kind of you're going to be sad. Clearly,
We were talking to Hilton Yam.
but you're not going to be like out of a gun.
Yeah, we were talking to Hilton about what was it? 1911s and people that have like was it the T-Sauce or whatever? They had done a poll or the import 1911s,
Yeah.
and basically it was saying if you shoot more, most people, if they shoot more than a magazine or two, shoot maybe a box of ammo and never touch the gun again. So I almost wonder, because I feel like we've repeated that, or we've sort of repeated that sentiment.
Like they don't shoot enough to find problems.
Right. So
in their mind, the gun is A-okay. But
mean-
in reality, it's A-okay up to that point. And
Right.
beyond that point, it's kind of...
Well, even then, I mean, I don't even mean that necessarily. I mean, like, does it make sense for somebody to pick up? Because we talk about value and prices, and everybody knows prices are a lot. Inflation's definitely only a couple percent. It's nothing more than that. But and everything seems to be really expensive. And Glocks used to be $400, and now they're almost $700, or discontinued or whatever you want to do, whatever. So I still think there's a value proposition for getting a police trade-in, but like, because I think there's value and deals to be had in terms of getting a working item, but I think your best bet in terms of getting a police trade-in, if you are absolutely going to do it, which I'm still not recommending, by the way.
I mean, I'm still on the fence. I mean, $450 is a very compelling...
Well, that's exactly right. And if you're only going to shoot a magazine and a box of ammo, which you should absolutely be shooting more. If you can't shoot once a month, try to shoot twice a month. I mean, you should shoot more than twice a year.
I feel like most of the components, you can get a bag of parts from Brownells for like what, under $40. The barrels are not going to be shot out. There's no way you're going to have it used. There's no way. I mean, like, they can go for...
Well, you can't shoot well enough to know if it's shot out or not. I don't mean you. I mean, like most people cannot shoot well enough
to tell if a barrel's...
Yeah. They can't group at 7 yards, let alone enough to figure out at 25 if it's grouping right.
Yeah.
So now, I'm not saying that to dismiss people that actually do shoot. In fact, I hope people shoot more than that. I want to be wrong. I want people to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. I shoot more than that in a minute. But, well, maybe not a minute. Hopefully it's a little bit more productive than that.
Well, if they do it in less than a minute, then,
Yeah, I don't know. All right, back to the operator. I'm sorry, we went on the Glock tirade. Tell me about this operator. What the hell are we talking about? Kevin
Springfield
wants
operator,
an
because
operator?
I want a 1911 before we talk to Hilton Ham again.
Hilton
Ye
Yam.
Oh, my dyslexia got me again.
Hilton Ham?
Uh.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Kevin,
I
he is completely pivoted. He was like, we've recorded not too long ago, and it's that episode will actually come out before this episode. So if you're listening to this, it's unless I just dropped this today, which I
Oh,
probably won't.
God.
I'll probably release this
Really
some other time.
confuse everybody.
That doesn't really, but there's no
Chronology?
chronology. I think it's not chronological. How about that? That makes me
Mm.
feel a little bit better. I'm a little bit more confident with
But
that.
anyway, the point is, I want a 9mm. I've been wanting a 9mm 1911 for a long time. I've just been kind of having it on the back burner. Then when I asked,
No, he has not wanted a 9mm. He made fun of me for however long for
no,
mine.
I pivoted.
And he was like, no. If you're gonna have a 1911, you should have a 45.
Pivoted. And I never told you that I pivoted, but I did pivot
Piece of
towards
shit.
the 9mm.
Why is that?
I feel like it's cheaper to shoot, and you get more rounds, and you're poking the same holes. So, and
I mean, you're poking smaller holes, but
and the recoil pattern, the felt recoil is going to be
significantly less.
Yeah, not as manly, if you will.
Well, it's interesting. I already referenced it, but we were talking to Hilton a couple days ago. But he actually, for a while, was not shooting 45 because of elbow problems. Because in his career, he was talking about shooting so much, getting tennis elbow from shooting guns, and he started selecting when he came back into shooting 1911s a little bit more. He was actually choosing 45s based on how heavy the gun was and how easy, like how much it soaked up the recoil. Because he was like, it sucks to shoot.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's kind of interesting to hear, like, because he, as a younger kid, you're hearing about people talking about recoil and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, it's not that big a deal, and it's like, you're right, it's not. But when it becomes like 100,000 rounds of 40,
Yeah.
like even Todd Green of Pistol Training, rest in peace, he did a 100,000 round torture test of an HK-45, and after that, he ended up having issues as well. He was making note of like, now, if you don't know, the HK-45 in terms of recoil, 445s, not that bad. I haven't shot one in a long time, but I know it's not that bad.
Oh, you have shot one now.
Yeah.
Better than I haven't shot one at all.
I love HK-45s. They're so cool. They're so goofy and big. Like, but I don't want the C because it's a compact and I don't like that size.
I like compacts.
You might like the 45C though, but they're only like 8 rounds, which I don't know. I know technically the Mark 24 is a.
But you're forgetting
5.
that's 8 rounds of God's caliber hardball.
They all fall to hardball.
Yep.
Somebody tagged us on something on Instagram and it was like Kevin's saying, and it was like they all fall to hardball or something. I thought that was really funny. But yeah, okay, sorry. Continue. 9mm operator.
Yes.
Why?
Well, it gives me all the fiddle with the 1911, but it's a 9mm, which means I'm going to want to shoot it more and actually use it and shoot it in it. It's the same caliber I have with all my other guns. So logistically, I could just buy 1,000 rounds of 9 and allot X amount to the operator and X amount to this, rather than having different calibers. Because I've had different calibers before. I've had 40, I've had 357 SIG. It just kind of gets muddled because you're just like, fuck, I gotta get this ammo, and I gotta get this ammo, and this ammo's cheaper. And you end up not wanting to shoot things based on not having the ammo.
I think it's really funny because when we were younger, we were he would buy calibers, and I was more of the guy that only wanted 5.56 and only wanted, well, at the time it was 38 special, 5.56, 9mm. That's all I had.
Yeah.
And I was big on, I didn't really shoot the 38 special that much. I was big on, I only want these 2 calibers because they're easier to get. And Kevin had 303, 30 carbine, 40 cal, 357 SIG,
Oh, yeah,
22. Like, he had all these fucking
I
calibers.
had these
God
oddball,
damn.
just off the wall, expensively.
Well, maybe not. I mean, not super oddball, but in terms of selection, it was quite a bit. And then going to the range with him was kind of I mean, it's already an ordeal when you want to bring out a decent selection in terms of what you want to do. And when you're just having fun, I don't mean like
Oh, yeah.
going out for
I
a
mean,
purpose.
it's all fun and games till you put the 9mm mag in the 357 gun.
Hey, man, that's a good way to resize brass.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
Yeah.
no, it was 357 SIG and 40.
Yeah, I did that too.
Yeah. So
I've done both.
that's okay. All right. Yeah, that was the one I did. What was I talking about?
We were talking about calibers and guns and
Yeah, now we're flipped. Now I'm getting, like, I have more
Well, I feel
I'm thinking about getting another caliber, which we'll talk about in a minute, but
I feel like just like I'm more interested in shooting right now. And before Bryce brings it up, yeah, I need a new upper, but I think an operator. I'll let the viewers decide, an operator or a new upper.
it's crazy to me that no, I don't think you should buy a new handgun. I think you should buy a new upper because you're having problems with the one that you've been using.
It semi works.
It works or it doesn't work. Right?
It works
It doesn't, though.
sometimes.
Most of the time, I would say it does.
60%
I
of the
think
time it works all the time.
If you can pretty reliably count on within 100 rounds your gun's having a stoppage, I think that's a problem.
Only one stoppage.
That you are correct. 1 in 100 rounds is pretty bad. And actually, I think you said it was worse than that last time.
It was about 2.
That's Jesus. Okay, so I think everybody should tell Kevin to buy an upper. I'm just telling him to buy a BCM. Yeah, they're a little gassy, but whatever.
I have one in the primary arms cart. Have not.
Yeah, but he also has an operator in the same cart.
Let's not talk about what carts and what guns or items I have ready to pull the trigger on.
All right. I've alluded.
Why don't we switch to you, Bryce? Why don't we talk about your new gun?
I don't have a new gun yet. I'm still looking at this G36 without a fucking stock.
No. The other one. The
I
other
don't know
one.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know.
You're forced me to say it.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the PSA Krink
I wouldn't
in 300 blackout.
I wouldn't know what you're talking
that you were touching.
I haven't
Shark
decided.
Coast Tactical, sir.
I have not decided what I want. I've been going back and forth between calibers because I'm not buying the 7.62x39. I'm not buying the 5.45 because they're never in stock and I don't really want one.
Yeah, 7.62 is too expensive to get anyway.
No, it's not that bad. I mean, it's not cheap.
Relative
but,
to other calibers.
Yeah. And I was telling Kevin the other day, it kind of comes down to an aesthetic thing because I do quite like the straighter curve of the 5.56 mags. I've always loved AK-102s, and I want to get one, but it's lower on the list, and I haven't decided if it makes more sense for me to go with the 5.56 crank or the 300 blackout crank because I like the idea of just stuffing 55 grain in a magazine and just shooting it and not feeling as bad. I mean, it's not cheap. Don't get me wrong. But it's cheaper.
Cheaper than 300 blackout.
Now, I could come at this from a couple different points of view, plural. In terms of how I look at the gun. If I want to try to be rational and I want to try to rationalize a purchase in terms of what I do or do not want out of it, which is just me waffling to vie for time for my stupid ass concept. I like the idea that, I mean, 300 blackout is not supposed to replace 5.56. I'm not choosing one over the other. I'm choosing.
Well, each has its own different properties. Like 300 blackout, you can suppress quite nicely if that's your plan.
Well, more specifically, it's more tailored to that barrel length.
It is.
So I like that it is a purpose-built caliber for short-barreled suppressed work. I think that's very compelling. However, I think pulling the trigger on $1 a round every time I want to shoot it suppressed is a bit of a bummer. And I think if
Well, it would make you not want to shoot it as much as if you had a 5.56 gun. Then you can just shoot it like whatever.
which fundamentally would be, well, maybe not fundamentally, but it would be pretty unpleasant to shoot. An 8-inch 5.56 is kind of a lot,
Yeah, just put a can on it.
and just like torch cut the can.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Have a sacrificial can. We know a couple reputable companies.
I was gonna
now.
say that Canco 3D printed one was kind of compelling,
Yeah.
but I mean, I don't know what I want. I feel like I was telling you this last night. I think no matter what I end up going with, I'm gonna end up like regretting the decision because I feel like the 5.56 is really cool, but it'll end there. That's kind of the extent of what that gun would do for me in terms of getting serotonins from it. It's like,
Right.
yes, I have
Now,
Krink.
well, here's a thing I just thought of. Have you ever put a 300 blackout in a 5.56 gun in accident?
Yes.
Is it possible that you could repeat that said accident?
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of a like that's,
That's the non.
I don't know. Just don't do that. It's like you fill up at a gas station that has diesel and
Yeah,
gas.
yeah,
Have you accidentally
I'm
filled your shit up with diesel ever in your life?
well, no, because it's green. The handle's green.
Well, bullets are different.
Yeah,
There's
but
enough warning to stop you from doing it.
you say that. You say that, but if you had a lot of guns out there, I mean, I guess it would. Well, what I'm getting at is it would kind of curtail your gun taking to the range because then you would have to be really super hyper vigilant at if you had a 5.56 gun with a bunch of that, and then you had your Krink with 300 blackout. You had to make sure you had to be damn sure you don't accident.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking,
not even think about putting because the rounds they fit in the mag. It's not like you
yeah,
can't.
share magazines.
Yeah, you can't be like, oh, this doesn't fit in the mag. What? Oh, wrong. Right. No, it'll boop right in there,
It's true.
and on top of it, unfortunately, it'll chamber,
Yes, it will.
which is even worse.
So it will chamber, but sometimes they don't chamber great. So sometimes you get a warning. Sometimes. Like when I did it, I got sort of a warning. I was like, this is weird. This isn't the seating. Now, granted, I was also under the impression the thing that I was shooting was a 300 blackout. Nobody told me it was 5.56. There was a parallel. We had parallel production lines, and nobody mentioned that there were different calibers. That was brilliant, by the way.
So you just kind of beat it in there.
Yeah, I was like, that's so weird. Well, and we were having problems with barrel suppliers. And no, seriously. So previous to that, we had guns that just wouldn't chamber.
A cascade of the perfect storm.
And then we had to. We weren't quite reaming them, but we had to have chamber hones because they were rough and they would not work. So I was like, oh well, it's just not chambering. Give it a couple more goes, and then you get an orange flash, and you're like, huh? I think I was right. I was so pissed. I thought it was out of battery. I walked out of there like so mad. And then I realized what it was because I couldn't open the bolt. I'm like, God damn it. Son of a bitch.
So anyway, so more kind of to my point, like if you have a 300 black,
okay,
that
listen.
would be a purpose range vision. So would you rather have that, or would you rather be able to bring everything at once and get more range time on your guns when you do get range time?
I think if it was an actual issue, SOCOM wouldn't use 300 blackout. And I think it wouldn't be as prevalent as it is now. I also think that because I'm not saying that this is not an issue because it's definitely the reason I don't own a 300 black, and I've said that before.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not discounting what you're saying. I definitely agree. There's definitely a risk factor involved. But I was actually thinking, I think maybe the best way of doing it is only loading because I have 5.56 everywhere. I mean, loose rounds.
Yeah. I found one right here on the couch I'm staying on.
Did you really?
Interesting enough.
That's funny. But yeah, so I mean, in terms of logistics, I'm thinking maybe the best way for me to do it is just load the 300 blackout from the box into the magazines and not pre-stage them like I do with 5.56.
That would okay. So if you do that, I agree with that.
So, I mean, I definitely have to have
Just
my own protocol.
adding that extra layer of safety and security. And I mean, I guess if it's only AKs that you have 300 blackout in, you're going to be like only putting them in the AK mag.
I guess that is actually a pretty good point. That kind of is going to go out the window when I eventually get like an MCX or something. I do want a Rattler. I want to make like an LVAW thing.
It concerns me that you're going to start going down this 300 blackout road. And the next call I get is like, so yeah, I blew up one of my 5.56 guns. Whoopsie doopsie.
I mean, you can blow up shit by treating it wrong. I mean, just don't do that, I guess. I think there's thousands of shooters that have not had that issue.
All right. So you're saying as long as we keep our guns clean and.
Well, I mean, I think the same people that argue don't buy a caliber because it might have an issue are the same people that think that they can't keep batteries charged or new batteries in their optics.
You can.
It's like I absolutely abhor people that are like, oh, like I can't. It's like I don't have lights and stuff or optics on my gun because the batteries go dead. It's like you have a phone, right? Like, you know how to keep that charged. You know how to take care of that. You know how to rotate your tires.
I don't know how to do any of these things.
I hate that. So I think the risk of something should not prevent you from doing it for the most part, within reason.
All right, well, then I'll get back to my logistics question. Logistically, 5.56 is across the board. You have a lot of firearms that have it.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing that I, at the end of the day, did not really want to rationalize the 5.56 Krink because in my mind, it's just for fun.
Well, if it's for fun, then do what you want.
But then I'm like, man, it'd be really convenient to have a road trip gun again. And then I don't really want to SBR that.
Well, let me wrap my head around this. So you want the fun gun, which is the Krink.
Yes.
But your mind is forcing you to try to rationalize the fun because you can't have fun without doing something.
Yes.
So if you're not doing something, then the fun is
and
not
more to your point about me enjoying the chase, as it were. If I get the 300 blackout, like suppressors.
Yeah.
You know, there's different suppressors I can try. There's different ammo I can try. There's a lot of stuff I can do with that.
I think you would get a lot more. Now you kind of laid it out that way. I feel like you would get a lot more enjoyment out of a 300 blackout.
Yeah.
Because you're right. There is a lot of avenues you can data test to get the very nice fine.
Yeah.
And then you can have suppressors and then that would be cool. And, you know, because we just saw a bunch of cool suppressors.
Yeah. I think it adds more to keep me interested past, because we're talking about a fun thing and something that I can test other stuff on or write about, do whatever. I think the 300 makes more sense. And I already have the magazines for that caliber too. So.
Oh, well, why didn't you lead? You buried the lead.
Well, 5.56 and 300 share magazines. I'm just saying in terms of
they do.
Even buying like a 5.45.
Oh yeah, I guess even the AK platform.
Well, a 5.56 mag is still a 5.56 mag.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh.
So.
I don't know. I thought AKs would have their own.
No. Now I know there's some slight geometry in terms of like Stanag mags that make 300 blackout rounds stack kind of weird, but I don't think it has similar internal geometry, at least some of the polymer mags anyway. But yeah, I think 300 blackout one makes sense. That, and I really like the gas system on it. I like how it's kind of reminds me of some of the older like 9x39 AKs the Soviets were working on, where they also had a gas block to kind of circumvent the. If you don't know, like in terms of getting 300 blackout or 7.62x35 or whatever, however you want to call it, guns to work, piston operated 7.62x35 or 300 blackout guns are a little bit more finicky to work, or a little bit more finicky to get to run because of where you need to have the gas port relative to the chamber on a piston gun, and where the 300 blackout wants the gas port to be, because if you look at like an AR,
Okay. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
there's a size constraint. So when you have a fixed piston, you only have
Okay.
so much room, right, for expansion to happen and any
Right.
kind of
Yeah,
rearward
'cause
travel to
it's not
build, right?
Yeah, okay. That's a lot of piston. I got
DI, you don't have, there's no problem. It's literally a tube that shoots back to the gas key.
Right.
So it can be as short, as long as you want. Now,
Yeah.
for it to work, I don't know.
Yeah,
But
that's the nuances of it.
yeah. But if you're able, much like PSA did, to put that gas port further back and then just shoot that higher pressure gas back into the expansion chamber and expand and use a long stroke piston, that's how they were able to kind of get around that. Now, I'd be interested to see how, because I've seen some, I try to limit my content in terms of what I'm getting influenced by other people, but I'd be interested to see how well it does between the different calibers. I haven't seen too many bad reports about 300 blackout or Krinks. However, I don't know how many people are actually putting serious rounds through those things. So
Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of like the tea sauce thing. Like, they buy it and they put a couple boxes. Maybe they're not putting enough to find problems
yeah, and
because the ammo's so expensive, and they're just like, eh.
I feel like when I get that gun, I'm gonna get the can, and then I don't even know if I'd ever take the can off.
No, I don't think
Maybe
you
for
would.
pictures. I don't know. Stay tuned. We'll see what happens, because I need to figure out what can I want to get. So
That'll be in the next.
I think I'm getting a 300 blackout. I think today we have decided I'm getting a 300 blackout.
We'll see. Next time I'm here in the compound.
Yeah.
We'll see what's happening.
Well, next time you're here in the compound, hopefully I have a stock for this fucking G36 and I start shooting this thing.
Well, eventually you will.
Yeah, it's the chase, as we
I mean, you
will.
could have bought the 22 at Shark Coast and ripped the stock off, and then had a 22.
Those 22s are really cool.
Yeah. He
So,
probably wants too much for it, though. I don't know.
I don't know. It's pretty decent price. I mean, to be honest, like his prices weren't too far off online prices, which I was very impressed with. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what else? Was that it?
I believe we have concluded our thoughts.
Kind of a long probably shouldn't have called this a fireside. It's been almost an hour.
Oh, good. A double
Uh,
fireside.
Yeah. The twofer. So thank you so much for tuning in to this fireside episode with your hosts, Bryce and Kevin. I don't know what to
You
do.
got 2 for 1.
2 for 1.
See ya.
Bye. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Very cool. You should like and subscribe.
On Facebook and Instagram.
And Twitter and Spotify. You should listen there too. If you
Aren't they
heard
listening
this on
to
Spotify.
this on Spotify right now?
Well, they could be, but there's also YouTube podcasts. So, all of the places.
We always forget where we post this stuff.
We don't know where this is. Thank you for listening wherever you're listening to, but you should also like the other places that we are. And
Who
then,
are we and what the hell are we doing here?
yeah, I don't know how we got here. So thank you for letting us talk directly into your ear holes.
Ah, right to the brain.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Adios.